So I had some weirdly deep thoughts the last few days because I was in quite a lot of pain in my digestive, so you got nothing better to do but sit in the quiet and think to yourself or watch TV. But it wasn't really on purpose. I wasn't trying to be philosophical or anything. It was just lying here, kind of zoning out, and suddenly my brain was like, hey, if we unpack the nature of meaning for a second, let's do it. Thanks, brain. It started with this moment where I realized how many things in my life I used to care about, like really care, that now I just feel distant with. Not bad or embarrassing, just faded. Like you turned the contrast down, like the hue, the colors went down. Past me was so wrapped up in certain things, and in the present, or the present me can't even remember why they mattered so much. It made me wonder how many things I'm anxious about now are just going to be future like footnotes. What's going to fade and what's going to stick. I just had an analogy of almost like a dartboard and some of them falling off, but most usually when I play darts, they all stick, right? So, bad analogy. But time really reshapes everything. The stuff that used to feel permanent ends up being temporary. The people, the routines, whole versions of myself. They're just like sandcastles. You build them up with intention, and then they slowly just get erased. But it doesn't make them pointless. It makes them sometimes even better or more beautiful, more interesting. I picked a great time to record when I need to cough. But maybe what's the word, like permanentness, permanence isn't the main idea or the goal. Maybe the point is just to build it anyway, even if you know the waves are going to come in and just take it down anyway. Like there was a second, it almost just felt like a second, maybe it was a minute, I don't know. But I was just sitting over where I drink my tea on the dining room table. And I don't know what shifted, but suddenly I just felt here. That happens every now and again. Completely here. Not in the past, not in the next hour, just in the present. Very Eastern philosophy, right? And I didn't do anything special. I wasn't meditating or having a breakthrough. I was just sitting there quietly. And it hit me how rare that really is. To actually feel in the moment while you're in it. It felt really clean. I guess that's the best word I can think of that comes to mind. Like still, but not empty, just simple. And I think most days that I forget that feeling even exists because my brain's always running, always feeling too much space with noise. But every once in a while, like when I was drinking that tea, there's that pause. And that's kind of enough. Something else I think a lot about when I have alone time is I think about people I used to be close with, people that I haven't talked to in a long time. And then I realize something. I don't know who they are anymore. And I think with some people like James comes to mind, the reason probably we didn't reconnect is we're such different people now. And he was thinking the same thing, that it just felt weird maybe to hang out, which we'd hang out and be fine anyway, but we're definitely different people, you know? Not in a sad or bitter way. It's just honesty, or being honest with yourself. We've all shifted gradually, and I'd say naturally. I think it's a natural thing for everybody, right? Makes me think how many versions of ourselves we live through without even really noticing the transition at all. But um, we keep showing up in the world like we're static, like we're always the same, but underneath we're constantly rewriting ourselves. Does that make sense? We always pretend we're consistent for the comfort. It's a comfort zone, right? It's easier to say, this is who I am, rather than to admit it's always changing, that who I am, this is who I am. But I don't think I've ever actually stayed the same, at least not for long. I've always taken a lot of pride in that too, and I don't mind if people see you. It's fine. Maybe, maybe identity is just a story we keep editing so we don't freak out about how fluid it all is. But that might be, oh gosh, what is it called? Nature versus nurture. I remember reading a lot about that in psychology. It's a big deal. It's like the question, I think I'm on the same cosmic egg here. Which thoughts are actually mine? And that sounds really weird at first, but like, how many of the things that I believe or do are things that I choose? And how many are the things that I inherited or absorbed without even noticing? It's kind of unsettling to think about, because once you start seeing it, you can unsee it. Little habits and opinions and routines. Sometimes I catch myself and think, wait, do I even like this? Or did I just pick it up from someone else? Someone else. It's it's weird. I wonder how often I'm performing some past version of myself because that's the one people expect me to be. Like I'm sticking to the script even though I outgrew that character a long, long time ago. I don't even think it's about being fake, it's just momentum. You act a certain way long enough and people respond to it, and you start to think, well, I guess this is me now, even if it really isn't. But memory's kind of trash in a way anyway, right? Not in a negative way, just in a very human way. Like, I think I'm remembering events accurately, but no, deep down, I'm just remembering my version of them, not necessarily the real thing. I try to challenge myself with that and try to remember the real thing, like a tape recorder, or something that helps me is if there was a camera up in the air that's outside of me. It's kind of wild to think about, though, that our memories aren't records. They're stories we've retold enough times that you actually believe them. Well, what is even the truth when every memory is like a remix? So, how many lives do we lead just even within one life? The version of me in high school feels like a different person, not just older, but like I'm a different entity now. Whole different world, different beliefs, different dreams, different most everything. Even the cells in my body have probably completely changed, I'd assume, or a lot of them. It makes me wonder how many versions are still coming. How many future selves that I haven't even met yet? Which parts of me now won't make the cut later? Some days I find myself replaying conversations that I never really ended. That was the thing I recorded earlier. I think a lot about that, especially since I recorded it. Not in a dramatic way, but just stuff that didn't close right. That trailing feeling of there was more to say, but time just moved on. Those weird little unfinished threads that still tug at me sometimes. I don't even know what I'd say now. Maybe nothing. But the ghost of the moment, it still lingers. But your brain's always trying to solve problems, and probably there's no big answer, you know? Sometimes I feel like I'm trying to get somewhere, some kind of final clarity. Like I just think hard enough or talk out loud long enough like I am now, and I'll land on some big answer. But I'm starting to think maybe that's just not how it really works. Probably is no final clarity. That's how cults would start and people would follow them, you know. You find the final clarity. So even Scientology, things like that. Heck, maybe even Christianity, I don't know. Maybe all we ever get is a temporary clarity, enough to get us through each moment. It's not a failure, it's just life. I don't really know where this entry is going. I just think that might be the point. I'm not here to solve anything. I'm just here to notice it, to sit with whatever comes up and let it pass through without rushing to fix or define it. Maybe that's enough. I don't know. All right, I think I'm done talking now. Just needed to let that out somewhere. Let it breathe. No conclusion. Just this.